Good morning, afternoon, or evening, boys and girls. This is Miss Katharine from the Frederickson Library with another session of Grab and Go craft bags. So today we're thinking more about spring. Even though the weather is cold and we're actually supposed to get a little snow tonight, it's March 31st. I can hardly believe that spring isn't right around the corner. We've had some couple of nice days. So let's look forward to spring. Now, when I think of spring, I think of lots of different things. What do you think of? Why don't you tell your adult or friend that maybe is doing this with you what you think of when you think of spring? So I think of birds and flowers and animals running around and people taking walks in the park and just taking off their coats, maybe wearing a sweater or maybe not even a sweater. So warmer weather is coming. So we had some nice warm days in March. That was nice. So anyways, when I think of birds, I think of birds that sit or stand in trees. I think of birds that fly. But where do those birds live? Some live right in a tree and they make a nest. Some live in little houses that people may make for them. And there are all kinds of bird houses that exist. And you know what? Some of you may have even made your own birdhouse before and put it out, put bird seed in it so the birds could come. Today we're going to make a birdhouse, but it's not going to be one that you can hang outside. So that you'll have to do at home. But we do have some books at the Frederickson Library on how to make birdhouses. And Frederickson Library just had a big bird craft sort of a contest. So you may have heard about that, or even your adult may have registered and done that. But that's over now. So we're now going to do one for children's where we're just going to make a bird craft. So before I begin, I just want to go over, for those who are new, craft grab and go bags are bags that I supply from the Frederickson Library, the Children's Department, and we do a craft twice a month. And the craft is all the parts of the craft and materials are in your bag. And so you can go home and do it at home at your convenience and your leisure. I videotape myself and I give instructions on how to do it so you can follow along. I tell you some facts about birds, some jokes. So it's just like a little session that we have. Now, the next craft grab and go bag will be in April, and the pickup time or pickup dates will be April 17th, Saturday. And I make a limited amount, so please come. They're often gone by late Sunday or early Monday morning. So you can pick them up at the Children's Library and just ask for your craft grab and go. And they're not a registered program at this point. So feel free to pick up one or two, perhaps, if you need them. And they will be posted, the video will be posted that Sunday or possibly Monday if we run in a little late. So anyways, hope you enjoy it, and let's get started on our birdhouse. The next grab and go bag, we're going to do a frog craft. So when I think of spring, I think of frogs and puddles and rain. So do you know, boys and girls, that we have an aquarium at the Frederickson Library, and we have little mini frogs in it. It's really cute. They're really cute. You have to come and see it. So anyways, let's get started. I want to show you what I made, which was the demo, and you can see what we're going to make together. So this is my craft grab and go for this month. It's a little birdhouse with a mama bird or a daddy bird and a little baby bird. And so you have all the parts. I want to go over the parts real quick. Well, basically, I can hold it up because I cut it out. I didn't want to take time on the video cutting things. So this is the roof, and it's out of popsicle sticks in the bottom. We have a little butterfly sitting on the roof. This right here is where you can write your bird's name, your name, the name of the house, whatever. Or you can decorate it with some flowers, anything you want. I just left a little, sort of like a nameplate. Here's the little hole, the opening that the birds fly in and out of. If you've ever seen a birdhouse, a kind like this, they fly in through the hole and they fly out. Then here's the adult bird, and he has some nice feathers and a little little sort of feather tufts on the top of his head and his little beak. And here's his or her little baby bird. So that is it. And then we have a little nice piece of soft string to hang it up on. So wait, after you make this craft, I would let everything dry for a night, because otherwise if you hang it up, it might fall down. So you can find a nice place in your home or give it to a friend, or, whatever you'd like to do. Share it with somebody. It's nice. And I have different colors. So when you come to the library, there are different colors of this birdhouse, and you can pick your colors that you like. So let's get started. Now, Miss Katharine always likes to start with some bird jokes. There weren't many I really didn't find any birdhouse jokes. So we're going to basically kind of talk about birds this session, but we are making a birdhouse. So let's start. What is a parrot's favorite game? Now, some of you may have a parrot at home. Hide and speak, rather than hide and seek. Now, I know, boys and girls, many of you may have played hide and seek. That's a really fun game, and some of you may be really good at it. All right, how about, what do you give a sick bird? Oh, no one likes to be sick. I don't think even birds like to be sick. You have to give them some treatment. Tweet, or treatment. You treat them. Okay, just like your mom or your dad or your adult in your house treats you and takes care of you when you are sick. How about one more? What kind of bird works at a construction site? Think about it. A crane. Do you know a crane is a type of bird? And of course, a crane that lifts things and is often seen at a construction site. And you can go on the internet and search for these birds, and you can find wonderful pictures. And we also have many books on birds at the library. So please come and visit us at the library and check out some books. All right, I think that's enough for for jokes. And on your sheet in your bag, I also have a list of some books that we have now I think this time it's at Cumberland County Library System. It's not just at Frederickson. So you can also narrow your search if you come to the library and just get books at Frederickson. So, boys and girls, how are birds different from humans, and what makes a bird? Why is a snake not called a bird, or a dog not called a bird? Well, birds have feathers, and that distinguishes or makes them different from every other animal. No other animal has feathers. Now, what do feathers do? Feathers protect the bird's sensitive skin, just like some of your skin is more sensitive than others. It acts as insulation. It keeps them warm when it's cold in the winter. All right, think of like if you put a lot of things, just imagine if you had a lot of feathers on your shoulders and your back, you would probably be warm. In fact, many coats are filled with bird feathers, down feathers, and they keep a person warm. The feathers on a bird also help them attract their mate. All right, some birds on feathers are beautiful. They're all different colors, and some are not. And some feathers serve as camouflage, so they can hide from their predators. Now, birds lay eggs, and some are smaller than your fingernail. So hold up your fingernail, and that's really, really small. And you have a much smaller fingernail than I do. And others are really big, like an ostrich lays a really, really big egg. Did you know that birds have hollow bones? That means they're empty inside. And that makes the bird light enough to fly. Our bones are not hollow inside, and so we can't fly. So that's kind of interesting about what makes a bird. Now, do you know that birds' feathers are made with keratin? And that's the same thing that your fingernails are made of. So it's kind of flexible and kind of hard. All right. How many birds are there in the world? Can anybody take a guess? There are a lot. There are over 10,000 birds today in the world. So that's a lot of birds. You could be bird watching for a lifetime if you wanted to try to see all the birds. And what do you think is the most common bird? Think you might have eaten this bird on many times. A chicken. A chicken is the most common type of bird. Boys and girls, we can find birds all over the world. Does anybody know what the smallest bird is? It's called a hummingbird. You may even have a hummingbird feeder in your backyard. They're very, very small. And an ostrich is the largest. Now, did you know that birds don't always stay in the same place? They migrate. Some of you may know that word. That means they travel long distances. They fly to go to some place where it's warmer and maybe has more food for the winter. Now, how do birds fly? Well, you know this, okay? They flap their wings and they create a little air pressure underneath that helps lift their wings. But some birds don't fly. Penguins don't fly. Ostriches don't fly. And little kiwi birds don't fly. So some birds, when they migrate, they go over 40,000 miles. That's half the distance of the Earth. Or some just migrate a couple of hundred miles. So I think that 40,000 isn't right. But anyway, they migrate a long, long way, some of them. So imagine if you had to leave your home twice, or when it got cold and had to fly for lots and lots of miles and then have to come back home. That's a lot, okay? And birds like to stay together in flocks. They fly in flocks together. Now, just like you may like to eat certain things, birds like to eat certain things. Not what we like to eat always. It also depends on the area. They like to eat fruits and plants and seeds and other small animals. Do you know birds don't have teeth? But they do have different kinds of beaks. So some beaks are short and thick and round for cracking seeds. Some are sharp and curved for tearing meat. And some are long and flat so they can sort of scoop up the fish and the plants from the water. Just like you talk to your friends, or you may text your friends, or you may talk to your parents or use telephone, birds communicate and they make sounds, different sounds. They might make a sound to warn another bird that the predator is coming. They might say, hey, this is my territory, don't come near. And sometimes they sort of puff up their feathers in their chest and they get real big and they try to make themselves look really scary to somebody. And they might even do a little dance for the person they're trying to, or the bird they're trying to attract. Now, boys and girls, have you ever seen a bird take a bath? It's really cute. In fact, some of you may have a bird bath in your yard. But birds do like to bathe in water, and they like it when it's raining. It doesn't bother them. They don't need a raincoat or an umbrella. But in areas where there's very little water, they have to clean their feathers. So if there's no water, how do you think they do it? They actually get on the ground and they sort of shake themselves around in the dust, and the dust cleans up their feathers. Believe it or not, they get cleaned by dusting themselves. All right. All right, this is a really easy answer. This is not a trick question. How do birds protect themselves? They fly away. Okay, that's one of the ways they protect themselves. Now, we use birds for lots of different things. We eat them as food. Sometimes we eat pheasants. Okay, pets. We have songbirds like parrots, and we use them for fertilizer. Bird droppings help make the soil rich. We use them in pillows and comforters, like on your bed. You may have a comforter or blanket. We use them as decorations. Sometimes people put them in hats or on clothing. And back in the old days, we used them as messengers. Pigeons would carry a message from one place to another. So some of you may have birds. I mentioned that some people have parrots. Another popular bird is canaries, all right, or lovebirds. Now, this is a really tricky little fact. What are people who study birds called? They're a type of scientist and are called ornithologists. That's a big word, and I just thought that was kind of cool. The last but not least cool little facts about birds are, did you know birds can see color? A lot of animals can't see color. An ostrich can run almost as fast as your mom can drive. and will grow 9 feet tall. That's really, really tall. Like that's the height of a very tall ceiling. Bluebirds cannot see the color blue. How about that? And yet they're called bluebirds. The hummingbird, which is that little tiny bird, can fly backwards. And a pelican, the bill of the pelican, the big bill that, sits in front of his face, that can hold up to 3 gallons of water. Now you can ask your adult what a gallon, like they probably have a gallon of milk in the refrigerator, what a gallon holds, and you'll see 3 of those. That is a lot of room in there. So they can kind of hold a lot of fishes in there. So anyways, those are just some fun facts of birds. So let's get started on our craft. All right. So here's our craft. And I think I showed you the parts. So we're just going to get started. I'm going to put my little paper in front where I have all my craft belongings. Okay. So what do you think we should start with first? I think we should start with the house. All right. Here's our house. It's pink. All right. And I'm going to be putting the roof on and the bottom with my popsicle sticks. So I get my handy dandy glue. All right. And again, if you have craft glue, I recommend it. I'm also going to get a little piece of paper to protect the table, which is a good idea. If you have one at home, tablecloth or something, because glue can stick. So I put some glue on my popsicle stick. Just a nice little thin layer. You don't need a lot because it's going to squish out. And I glue the roof on. Oops. And I got a little bit of glue on here. Okay. And I glue the base on. And I'm going to show you this so you can see what it looks like. It's hard to pick it up. Okay. There's my little house. All right. Sort of looks like our own houses. All right, now, I'll put this down here. The next thing that I'm going to do, I think I'm going to put my little nameplate on, okay? The name of the house or the name of the birds. So that's this little piece. I cut it out. It's like a rectangle. And you can cut it out so the black shows or not. I'm not going to have my black show on this one. So I'm putting the glue on the side that has the black lines. And I'm going to put that right up at the top, real close to the top. Do you see that, boys and girls? Okay. And your popsicle sticks may slip a little. You can move them around. All right, now I have my name plate. Now I think what I'm going to do is put my little hole that they come in and out of, that they're going to fly in and out of to get to their birdhouse. Here's my black hole. So you have to cut yours out. Of course, I'm going to put the glue on the white side because my hole is black. And I'm going to put it right underneath. Whoa. Slips off a little bit. Right underneath. Okay, there we go. I just want to refix my little name tag. It slipped a little bit. Okay. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, now I'm going to do let's see. I can put on my butterfly. And you can put on the right side or the left side or really wherever you want. I just put mine right up here. And it has like a little sticky tab on the back. So there we go. I put my little butterfly on. You know what? I like him better further down. I think I'm going to move him. Woo, he doesn't move so easily. Okay, there. There, I like him better down further. Okay, now I have a mama bird or daddy bird, depending. All right, this is the bigger circle. So I'm going to put him on one side. It doesn't matter which side. And I kind of tilt him down a little bit. Okay, not straight. I mean, you can do either way. You can do anything. And I also, because I'm not gluing the whole thing, I just glue the part that I'm going to glue onto the Birdhouse. So you don't need to put glue on everything. And I think you'll see what I mean when I show you. And put up a little bit because you want to make room for this bird's legs. You want to be able to draw legs on here. So see, I left a little room at the bottom to put his legs. And press down, make sure everything is glued well. And again, you can always come back and add a little more glue. Sometimes you have to just sort of press hard. Okay, now I'm going to make my little baby bird on the other side. So again, I put my glue on my baby bird's body, which is the bigger of the two circles. And I leave a little room for his legs. All right. And here's his little head. And I'm going to do his head. And I'm going to glue it on. You see that? Okay, so now we have adult bird and baby bird. Now, I have 3 pieces of wool, light green wool. So that's kind of for the tuft of the bird. You know, sometimes birds sort of have their hair sticking up a little bit. Sometimes humans have their hair sticking up and they don't even know it. Sometimes my hair sticks up and I don't even know it. So I kind of cut three together, and you might need an adult to help you with this. And then if they're about the same size, do you see I have 3, it's hard to see, 1, 2, 3. I sort of grab them, pinch them together, and I put a blob of glue, not too much. And I'm going to sort of stick them underneath. You may have to pull up a little on top of the bird, underneath. And I probably should have told you to do this right away after you made the adult bird. Okay, do you see that? I kind of put them right underneath there, okay? And you can always cut them a little shorter. I'd rather you make them a little longer. And you may need to add a little glue, like this one's not sticking, so I'm going to put a little more glue. Ooh, yeah, they don't like to stick. All right, here we go. I'm going to have to add a lot more glue. Okay, now I think I got it. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the little baby bird. And you can make them as long, or you can make them shorter, or you can only do 2 if you want. I'm going to just do 2. He doesn't have as many growing on top of his head. So again, I put a little glue right on the wool. Okay, you see that? He has a little bit. And you can kind of separate them out. Okay, now we've got our little tufts of hair. Now maybe the next thing we should do is put on our beaks. All right, so you have 2 little tiny beaks. One is smaller than the other. And of course you can guess the bigger beak goes with the adult. So I put a little bit of glue on the back of my beak. Not too much because it'll kind of spread. And then I stick it right where that beak should go. You can kind of guess. And have it sort of pointing upward. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to do the same for my little baby bird. These are so teeny. Got to really hold on to them. And if your baby bird has started to glue down real hard, you can just put it right on top. You don't have to stick it right under the circle, but it's nice if you can do that. You can kind of pull it up. And I think I need to glue my baby bird down just a little bit more. He's starting to come off. You'll have to decide with the glue that you're using. Okay, now I've got my 2 birds. All right. Now I'm going to put their feathers on. So I have, and again, you'll have different colored feathers. I have a green and a blue feather. Now, some of your feathers are longer than others, so you can use a longer part for the baby bird, or you can draw your feathers, or you can put your own little fabric on there. You could use your imagination. You don't have to use these feathers, but I'm going to cut this blue one is rather long. Do you see that? Okay, so I'm going to cut this top part off. Just snip it like that, and you might lose some feathers. And that's going to be the baby bird's feather. And I'm going to put it right on his back, kind of sticking up. Oh, there, that looks cute. He's got his little feather. And now the adult bird, I'm going to put my 2 feathers on. And you can kind of place them on there first and see where you want them to go. I sort of like to put the big one on the bottom, the longer one, but it doesn't matter. And glue it down. And then take the other feather. Oh, it turns out that this feather is longer than I thought. He's kind of bent back. I don't know if I can bend him really well. Sure, why not? We're going to try this. Okay. And I know this glue is a little funny on the feather. It's sort of jumps around. But you know what? I'm going to swap my feathers. I think it turns out my blue is bigger than my green. So I'm going to put my green on top. Ooh. I get a little wild there at the bottom. Let me show you. Okay, there's my feathers. Now the last thing, we need little feet for the bird. Okay, legs and feet. So I get my Sharpie marker. You don't have a Sharpie in your bag, neither do you have glue. But if you need glue, you can come to the Frederickson Library. But most children do have glue at home. And so I draw my little legs. Do you see I drew little legs? Okay, they're standing. So here goes my little legs. And you can make the adult legs a little bit longer. Okay, now what are we missing, boys and girls? Can you tell? We don't have any eyes on the bird. So we need, of course, our very famous Google eyes, which I love. And we're going to put those on. So you're going to grab your Google eyes and put a little drop of glue. These are hard to hold. And then you're going to just plop it right down on the bird. Okay. And baby bird and mama bird both get a eye. There we go. They look so much better with their little eyes. All right, now we have one very, very last thing to do. If we want to hang this up, we can't now. Unless we have a magnet. Now you could also put a magnet on the back of this and put on your refrigerator. And you can buy magnetic strips and then just cut them in little pieces. I happen to have a little bit of yarn that I put in. It's real soft. Okay, so you can just glue that to the back. Now once you glue it, I would wait, because if you try to hang it up, the whole thing's going to fall down, because the glue has to set and just get hard and be strong. But you can go ahead and put the glue on. Now you can either put the glue on the wool, or you can just put sort of 2 glue spots left and right and then put the glue on top, which I think is much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sort of like 2 lines. You can put a lot because that little ribbon, that little wool is kind of thick. Do you see that? I put 2 little spots. And now I'm just going to lay my ribbon right on there. And I cut you a pretty long ribbon, so if you want to make it long, wool, you can make it long, hang long, or you could make it hang shorter. Now see, I'm just going to hold it up. I'm not going to really hold it. All right. And if you have any edges that are sort of popping out from the side, do you see that little pink there? You can cut them off. It's okay. There we go. And my little birdhouse is done. Okay. And don't forget to name it. I'm sure you can come up with a very creative name. I haven't thought about the name for mine, but I'll have to think about it. You can ask me if you come to the library what I named my birdhouse. Okay, that's it. I want to finish up with some jokes. And I'd love it if you came and showed me your birdhouse at the library. But if you can't, I totally understand. And I look forward to another session of Craft, Grab, and Go. So, let's see. What kind of bird doesn't need a comb? I know this is kind of a different one. A bald eagle. Because there's no hair on top, he has nothing to comb. How about, why does a flamingo stand only on one leg? And if you've never seen a flamingo, they're pink birds, and they have just, they kind of scrunch up their one leg, bend it, and they just stand on one leg almost all day. Well, if it lifted both legs, it would fall over. So that's just the way the bird was designed. And last but not least, why do you think scientists think hummingbirds hum? You know how to hum, boys and girls, right? Because they can't remember the words. Have you ever been where you heard a song and you thought, oh yeah, that's a good song, I know it, and then you went and you couldn't remember the words? Well, you can hum it, but hummingbirds hum all the time. So boys and girls, that's it for Craft, Grab, and Go birdhouses. I hope you enjoyed this time, and be on the lookout for birds in your neighborhood. And maybe you can get a bird identification book and find out what kind of birds live where. All right. Thank you so much for joining Miss Katharine for another session of Craft, Grab, and Go. Goodbye, boys and girls.